potentially. Joining us now to discuss what this all means is Fred Fleitz, Vice Chair of America First Policy Institute, American Security. So let's get right into this, Fred. What does this mean? Has anything surprised you so far? Give us the 30,000-foot view here.
The Iranian government had multiple opportunities, multiple off-ramps to avoid this. President Trump gave them 60 days last year to negotiate a deal. They played for time, tried to manipulate the talks like they've done with numerous Republican and Democratic presidents. But this president is different. When he sets an ultimatum, he means it. He said in May he wanted peace through strength and commerce with Iran, with China, with Russia, with North Korea. The Iranians ignored him. And then the ceasefire last June that Trump negotiated, the Israelis did not want to agree to that. They wanted to keep attacking Iran. But Trump gave Iran an opportunity then. What did it do? It proceeded throughout the summer, throughout the beginning of this year, to rebuild its nuclear program, to rebuild its missiles. Then he started talks again this year. The Iranians also tried to manipulate them. So critics of this attack on the right and left should realize military force was not President Trump's first choice. And when other states try to game us, when they ignore ultimatums, and if we go along with that, we undermine American credibility on the world stage.
In your view, what was the red line here? What was it? The protesters who were being killed? Was it the continued stalling that we saw during this negotiations? Do you think there was a singular moment that ultimately forced President Trump's hand here?
I mean, obviously, the world was appalled when tens of thousands of Iranians were killed by the Iranian regime, and many, many more were maimed. You know, Iranian security forces were shooting at protesters in the eyes to blind them. It was appalling, and the crackdown has continued since that time. I think the president was really outraged by that. He wanted that to stop. But just as important, and this may have happened over the last 10 days, I think there's been very compelling intelligence on how Iran is rushing to rebuild its nuclear missile program. They may be building 100 missiles a month, and eventually they would have an arsenal so large they would be able to overwhelm Israeli air defenses.
Now, Democrats in Congress have already been out in force this morning saying that President Trump acted unconstitutionally, that he illegally bypassed them. What's your response to those Democrats who are saying that President Trump illegally bypassed them?
Well, let's first give credit to Senator Fetterman, who strongly supported this. We used to have bipartisan politics like that. The politics ended at water's edge. And I hope we have more Democrats who take a principled position like that. I don't think we will because of Trump derangement syndrome. The American people will decide. Do they think this attack was a good idea? Do they think it was a good idea to get rid of a regime that has been really at war with us for 47 years? As the president said yesterday, before he left the White House, as he said in his statement this morning.
So how do you see this playing out? The White House is giving hints that it could be days, even weeks. If you had to guess, with what you know of President Trump, having worked so closely with him over the years, how long of a timeline do you see for this attack?
I think we probably could see a couple of weeks. I think there will be additional phases of this attack that we can't see right now because the initial phases were to take out missile defenses, missile launchers, and prepare for, I think, broader attacks to undermine the W&D programs and security forces that were being used to put down the Iranian people.
Thankfully, to this point, reports are that there have been no American casualties. But I am interested. President Trump has been adamant that he does not want boots on the ground in the Middle East, that he does not want that for this situation. If there is a situation, God forbid, where a missile gets through to a U.S. base and kills a dozen U.S. service members, is there a way to avoid boots on the ground?
Well, let's point out that our bases are at greater risk than Israel because most of Iran's remaining missiles are short-range missiles. Iran shot most of its long-range missiles or had them destroyed last June. That's why we're just seeing dozens being fired at Israel right now. But Iran may have maybe 800 to 1,000 short-range missiles. We can shoot most of them down. I'm sure there are very, very aggressive efforts right now to protect American assets and American personnel at these bases. But frankly, by firing at these Gulf states, Iran is making this conflict worse for themselves. I think the Saudis may join us in attacking Iran right now because Iran attacked Saudi territory.
Yeah, we did see that statement from Saudi Arabia offering at least verbal support for the U.S. The big question, as you mentioned, is whether that will lead to military support as well. So I'm interested in the political angle here. We have seen some on the right criticize President Trump, saying that he campaigned as the president who would avoid foreign entanglements, avoid foreign wars. He was the peace president. There has been some pushback on the right, to be fair, saying this isn't what I voted for. What is your message to people who are frustrated with this operation?
That's why I started my remarks to say that Trump did not want to use military force, that he gave the Iranian government every opportunity to take an off-ramp, to live in peace with the U.S. And there's critics of this operation, conservatives who watch this program, who aren't going to agree with it. And I didn't want to see military action taken against Iran unless absolutely necessary. But the president gave them multiple opportunities for an agreement to stop the threat to the region and to live in peace with us and with our allies. The Iranian government did not want to do that. This is a government that is determined to destroy the state of Israel and build nuclear weapons. And President Trump correctly decided that is unacceptable.
Final question, Fred. What do you think this means for Russia and China? In your view, how are they responding as they wake up to this news, or as they get more intel here? What can we expect to see from Putin and Xi?
It's a huge setback for the Russians. Russia doesn't have many allies. They're getting weapons for the war in Ukraine from just two states, Iran and North Korea. And there's this so-called axis that has been formed with Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran. Well, the axis just lost a member, and it looks like the other members aren't doing too much to defend them.
So much from the America First Policy Institute. Really appreciate you joining us on our Breaking Coverage today.
Good to be here.
All right, again, for those just now tuning in,